Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. Today I'm finally going to get round to tasting the first of the new releases from Breaky Bottom, the 2019 vintages. There were two releases from this vintage, as usual a Seyval Blanc base wine, and that's what I'm going to try today, and also a Chardonnay and Pinot wine. I'll save that until last. I do generally tend to prefer the classic champagne grapes rather than the Seyval based wines, but they're all interesting and they're all good. What is this called? This is Cuve Minnie Charlotte. I think, if I recall correctly, that was named after a relative of Peter's this time. Sometimes family members, sometimes friends, illustrious acquaintances. What a very interesting life Peter leads, to know all these fascinating people after whom to name bottles, to name cuvées. I'm not sure I have chilled this perfectly. I just grabbed it out of my cellar before coming out and I put it in the usual ice jacket thing. It's a relatively chilly day despite the nice weather that finally feels like spring is on its way. It's sort of blue skies, but I think the temperature right now is sort of 9-10 degrees. So I'm hoping this is going to be not far off just from the ambient temperature, and having been in my cellar for a bit and that bit of time it had annoying fly there, and that bit of time it had in the ice jacket. When I've visited Breaky Bottom and done tastings there, I get the sense that Peter doesn't tend to hugely chill the wines. They're often just sort of sitting in one of those kind of cool boxes for a couple of hours while we're doing the tasting. So I don't think he's overly fussy about getting things down to very low temperatures. I brought the not so good tripod today for the GoPro, thus everything's at a slightly lower angle, doesn't get particularly high up. Apologies if you're staring at the underside of my chin. That was quite a healthy mousse, wasn't it? I hope you'll agree. And as before with these Seyval based wines, I feel like the colour is gold with a sort of almost very, very slight hint of greenishness to it, sort of greenish gold, quite pale, nice healthy stream of bubbles as well. What do we get on the nose initially then? Quite nice. That's something citrusy, but not immediately drawn to lemon. And there is a bit of something autolytic there, something sort of bready, brioche-y. What is that citrus character? I don't think I'm going to go lime this time. It's not orangey, something close to lemon. It might even have a hint of grapefruit to it, and I know any of you who watch any of the pub videos I do will know I can't stand grapefruit in beer, but in wine, perfectly acceptable tasting note. It does seem contradictory and inconsistent, but there you go. Nice clean fruit presentation there, and the autolytic character also is nice and sort of clean and fresh, freshly baked bread, fresh something citrusy. Yeah, overall very fresh, very clean. What I'm not noticing so much at the moment are those herbaceous, grassy notes that I always talk about with Seyval Blanc. Yeah, it's much more clean, fresh fruit, clean, fresh, clean bread. Sounds weird. Freshly baked bread, clean, pure fruit, quite citrusy. Nice, that's a nice start. First things first on the palate. I think I have achieved a pretty good temperature there. I don't think that is too warm at all. Quite happy with the level of chilling from that very basic chilling it's had. Again, lovely clean palate there. It's all a very sort of pristine, clean sort of a wine. Getting a really nice kind of saline twang to that. I would say that goes a little bit beyond mineral to something almost slightly sort of salty, saline, which is really pleasant actually. There are bitter notes there, the sort of botanical notes, definitely a decent amount of zing, but not overwhelmingly though. I feel like more I'm noticing that slight salinity to it, which is really pleasant. It's somehow simultaneously fresh and zingy, but also bitter and saline and mineral and really interesting. Still can't quite pin down the fruit character. Again, I would say probably citrusy. There could be a hint of apple in amongst that as well. Maybe grapefruit wasn't quite right. It's I don't know, what else do we have? Kumquat? That's a bit obscure. Maybe it is some version of lemon, but it's quite a dry, perhaps bitter lemon, sort of bitter lemon, quite dry. Really like that bit of salinity or minerality or whatever it is I'm picking up there. So are sliced lemons preserved in brine a thing? I have a vague feeling I've seen those in jars for use in cocktails or something. Is that possibly a thing? Pretty good. Slightly wish I'd sat out in the open now, because there's a nice sky out here, but it was just a bit too busy earlier. Of course, as soon as the weather turns nice, that's the curse of the heath, fills up with people. I think this is post sunset now, but nice bit of pink sky over there.